End of September 2025 with the Lovelocks of Sunninghill. Rough cut photo trails and video clips. Now the tour of the garden bit will be what was shot a few days earlier for the previous photo trail. But here's a few snaps. Hallgrove's School was a lovely visit, open for the NGS charity. And of course, not only the place was fantastic, but the people you met. Oh yes, and typically in the evenings I'd eat down in the village, like La Sorrentina and the Flame Cafe next door. Or yes, let my burgers cool down there. Or all the way down to the end of the Raj Vuj and typically have onion bhaji. But let's go into that introduction earlier, the rough cut photo trails and video clips. Yes, it will be pretty rough. I'll start with the standard introduction. This is where we live, at 22 Armitage Court in Sunninghill, with warning signs about fierce guard cats. Toady is one of them. You may even pick up a QR code there. And this has been known as Robin's Corner from the late 1980s, where GPS was tested on this spot, just down here. And there's the garden sculpture that June got Robin as a birthday present a few years ago. There's the oak tree that sprung up from an acorn. Yes, we've got lots of acorns everywhere. And this is getting into late September now. Everything's coming into lovely flower. Here's the robot boat, Snoopy's robot boat across the Atlantic. And there's Snoopy the Viking. And I've just noticed a vehicle's arrived. It might be a courier, possibly with the mosquito zappers. Yeah, so problems to be sorted on the robot boat, but that's all on the various photo trails. And just recently I've been consulting some AI machines. Right, this is June's car with promotion of the website gpss.co.uk. that was a business many decades ago. It is now hobbies like the robot boat and charitable causes. So coming down drive here, yes, these are projects like the bicycle not yet working and the cat forts done several years ago now. Yeah, warning signs everywhere, including armed mice, not just cats. Yes, so that's probably enough of that for the moment. And coming towards the front door, here's the camper that was used for taking Snoopy's robot boat down to the coast, and June and Samantha had a holiday for a few days in it down in Cornwall. Yes, here's the battle damage. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Now, before we go into the house, I've got to point out a few warning signs. And I must hasten to add, these are just jokes, because you know what people will say. Anyhow, so we come down and it says, closed circuit TV, hidden TV cameras inside and outside this house. Sound and video is monitored in local houses and elsewhere. No trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Just a joke, of course. Yes, cameras everywhere, lots of them. That's the flatulent fairy. Was to go on up a tree. It might go up a tree next Christmas. What else have we got? Yes, peanuts everywhere for various wildlife. Peanut feeder, that was recently fixed. And yes, another camera down there. Gnomes. Now, these signs are probably the most important. That's my study in there. And do not disturb. I'm disturbed enough already. And maybe this sign, from a health and safety point of view, is the most important of the lot. Home of mad ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock, beware of web cameras and water squirters loaded with water, paint, acid, DNA tracer or nerve agent. Robin would not be mad enough to test these, or would he? Just a joke, of course. Right, I think it's safe to go into the house now, so let's try doing that. And yes, tennis gear. You can see the time, it's just coming up to 12 o'clock British Standard Time. And quick glance into the kitchen, and June watching tennis on the television just for a change. Yes, that was a big breakthrough, putting in these skylights and these temporary mirrors. That was some time ago now. So this is the kitchen. So now I'll go through. We haven't got to where the real work was done, which was the end of the garden. Yes, doing this on the smartphone because I haven't got a suitable camera and I don't like big clunky ones. So going into the lounge here. Yes, there's Robin's naughty corner where he relaxes, nice furniture, perhaps to have a snack and look at the closed circuit TV. Yes, that was very cheap from a scrapyard, I think, £5. Anyhow, well, tip. Yes, so here is, we've got a cheap PC drive in the TV and it's tracking me at the moment, so there we go. You can zoom in, but there's Sunninghill, where we are in Sunninghill. Now, so the lounge hasn't really changed very much, but now I'm going to go into the garden, and where we've done most of the work is down the end. But a few little projects have come along. There's still experimental work going on here. Yes, mosquito zapper, because they're a problem. Now, the pond is filling up at the moment, which is a regular daily ritual. And it's during the winter that we can work seriously on it. But this is a project which is pretty well done now, which is the little Brussels peeing boy. And I think we've got the electrics and everything else about right now. And that reminds me of my trips to NATO headquarters in Brussels in the 70s. Anyhow, that is the top pond. And of course, when it's filled up, and of course, hopefully, all the rainwater comes off the roof and down into it, over there. And yes, there's a concrete lady fountain. And then it overflows into this pond. It's still got a way to go, yeah, because I only set it going half an hour ago. Overflows and goes down the stream. Yes, that's the telescope that I built the optics for as a boy, and no time to do any work on that. There's wild fennel from Sicily. We brought some cuttings back, and not important ingredient. Now I'm coming down the garden. You may have seen this in the more recent photo trail, but yes, so that's to make it a bit easier to go down the steps. There's the hose running from around the side of the house. So I may as well show a glance of this, because these videos are very much for people into property maintenance. It shows things how not to do them when I make mistakes, but also that some things are very simple. And that's where the electrics, including a car battery and things, are for the driving the pumps. So that's around this side. Load of tidying up needed. But right, this is the second pond, and we did a bit to make a progress of cutting this, and that was Samantha and June helped, and part of it was where I had a bit of an accident because this hadn't been made secure enough, and luckily Samantha was there to help me untrack myself. Right, we're coming down now. Yeah, flowers, of course. June's roses, even if you cut them back earlier in the year, they rather obstructing my sundial, but not to worry. You can hear a pigeon in the background, I think. So we're about to go down into the area where real progress has been made. So past the Gunnerer manticata, which is the only surviving one we have in the garden at the moment. Down into what is a lovely place to sit and relax, particularly in the evening. And you can see the wildlife and the birds and everything. This morning when I was just checking things out, yes, this will fill up, I found that I think it was a fox. Normally we worry about pigeons, so yes, look at that mess there. Now the cameras aren't all working, but that's my suspicions, it was a fox. Yeah, so this is coming along very nicely. We've got bulbs planted here, which will be things like bluebells. We've got plenty of scope for putting primroses. And of course, the sky has been opened up. We could do more. So particularly when the sun comes across the sky, then this becomes quite a sunny spot. So quite a lot of plants will grow. Most of the plants that we've been putting in are things like mint, which mosquitoes don't like, but we have a mosquito trap. I've ordered 2 more of those for up near the house, and I don't like it if they get moths, but you can see pigeons settle on it, make a mess on the solar panel. Bird feeders. Now down in this end, I've just topped them up recently, but we've got, I think it's 5 bird feeders here. And there's another one up there. Anyhow, this is a lovely spot to sit and relax, including in the evening, and then the solar lights come on. And of course, a lot of those details will be in the photo trail. Now, where an important bit of progress is, because it won't be long and loads of leaves will be coming down, we needed the space to put things, and we used up a lot of space on the compost heaps, but I've increased the height of the compost heap, so we won't be running out of space for dumping stuff. So most of it are cuttings like rhododendron and stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's the junk area. We'll tidy that up in due course, including being able to access things like the ladder. I may as well show it. It's been on other photo trails, which is, yes, a few key tools are in there, like chainsaws. Shouldn't be misused, of course. And so coming up the garden, right, anybody who's going to do some lovely flowers starting to come up here already. Not sure what all of them are. June's washing line. Now this hasn't changed much, but it's worth pointing out, somebody's got to do mow the lawns. Oh, look for a lawnmower. Oh, there's a lawnmower, there's a strimmer, uses mains power. Yeah, go for around the other side, and there's an extension lead. And I haven't cut that grass for months now, but if I did want to cut it, the whole job, including getting the tools out, mowing it, putting the grass on the compost heap, putting the tools away, well, possibly half an hour, but not much more. Right, we're coming round into the workshop area here. So for example, there's power here with an extension lead, and this was done some time ago, mostly with the help of Paul from Chobham. And so we've got stuff there, and of course more tidying up could be done to put tools in the right place. So for example, hammers tend to be in the same area, files and everything else, spanners. So that needs to be worked on in terms of work, because at the end of the day you say what's at the top of the priority list, and some things interrupt others. So we're now coming back up, and we should be running into those photo trails soon. This is June's little patch here. I might as well complete it. So yeah, PIR lights come on. That's her greenhouse. Yes, lots of junk here. And come around, sorry about the politically incorrect water tub that's important to her. That's where the cats can go in and out. This is where the tap is, main tap, and then loads of routes for the water to go to different places. That's where materials, oh yes, that's plastic piping material, wood, and of course various other odds and ends. So working round here, this brings us round to where the dustbins are kept and the at the front. So yeah, you could say this is useful for somebody who wants to case the joint, but I don't think it would be a good idea. Anyhow, so we're about to go into the photo trails, which are just those few days in late September, and so just making sure you see all this. So I haven't really done anything on that, and we're gradually putting things around here into what seems to be the right place. There looks like spare water squirters to be looked on. You can see what the time is there. You see what the temperature is there. What is that? Coming up to 13 centigrade or something like that. Yeah, the barbecue under there. So gradually it'll get tidied up more, but, and of course we've got fishes in the pond. And where's the water level? Where it's coming up, it's probably within an inch or two of overflowing. There's a depth gauge over there. So at the end of the photo trails, there'll be some material that was shot a couple of years ago, which is on two topics. One is well, global warming, which is very important, of course. In short, it's going to happen and you haven't seen anything yet. And the other thing is Robin's experience with the DVLA, Driver Vehicle Licensing Agency. Anyhow, enough of that. Let's go into those photo trails now. I warned you, they will be long photo trails. Saturday the 27th of September 2025. Yes, and the highlight was the visit to Hall Grove School, open for the, and yes, particularly the conversation with the two couples that we met. And anyhow, usual photos follow. This is the photo trail in the order shot, and yes, a little bit of work on P and Boy. If there was any work, I was just checking that he was working as he should still. And yes, looks like I've just turned the tap off from filling the pond. A few snaps around the garden. Yes, apples coming along nicely. And usual thing, don't know why, probably the video playing is delayed occasionally. Some of these photos are there far too long, should be a couple of seconds each. Anyhow, and obviously down at the end of the garden now, and the charitable odds and ends are there. Oh dear, yes, yes, so that was flagged up earlier, but I thought, yeah, I better clear that out of the way. Seat needs cleaning, but I threw it in a suitable place to fertilise the garden. And what next? Probably very little. Oh yes, it was the late September video, leaving that processing ready to upload onto YouTube. And I think I had two computers competing, one with the old version of VideoPad on the same sort of machine, Windows 7 32-bit, in the lounge, and the other one, yeah, so a bit of a race between them. Oh, the bug zappers, yes, they arrived, the two extra bug zappers. So I put those in place, I had to make sure they were switched correctly. And of course, Toadie was watching what I was doing. You have to be careful with those things because they're high voltages on that grill when they're switched on and they're triggered. Ah, and then there was a surprise visit from the Bouncels in called in. Yes, there's the three of them. that was young Daman, Raj and Bal. Yeah, very enjoyable, but yeah, look, extra photo there, that was a bit fuzzy. Right, so what's next? Oh yes, that's looking at the progress, 3.5% complete. I mean, this is typically after hours. That's on the new version, 2.5%. So he says yes. So what's happening next? Well, that's Toady, and there's Bentley, and then Toady decides to chase Bentley across the road. Yes. Oh, poor old Bentley. Anyhow, Toady having his fun. Now it looks like we're off, and I suspect that might be what we were planning to do, and it was delayed a bit by the visit of the Bansals, which is to go to the Hall Grove School, open for charity, opposite Longacres, pretty well, or just before. And so we go in, lovely conversation with one of the masters and two of the boys, taking the money to go in, which all goes into the charity. And yes, and then June, I think, takes a walk round. She tends to be interested in the plants. But then we met up, and there was a band, and basically fantastic. Couple of couples there, one from Yateley, obviously knew where Saskia and Gary were, and Blackbush and everything. And we're taking our walk around the bog garden, but one of the guys, yeah, he was several years older than me, and he remembered things like the Mercury computer of Ferrantes and ICL from, so it'd be great if we get a chance to continue the conversation, but we thought, right, we'd get some photos going around the lovely lake. Well, the whole gardens are lovely. Yeah, look at that, it's some fungi growing on that log. There's a nice picture of us both. Yes, ducks are swimming around. So that's the large pond, and yes, there's a boat there. Notice it wasn't on the water. I imagine that the boys do occasionally go in it. That's looking up towards the school, which of course was a grand house, and this tree was planted by the Hall Grove Leavers in 2019, and yeah, you can pause it and read it if you want to. And there's the old oak. Now apparently that is a very old oak, and certainly a lot older than the one that sprung up in our garden from an acorn. Now, so now looking around the stuff that June particularly likes, which are the flowers. These are the gardens, and yes, lots of features. Looks like the vegetable patch there. Making our way back to the car, and we said, well, we'd take a chance to visit the ice house, which we'd seen before, and it's tucked away there. It's like a well. It's well fenced off, but many years ago, ice would be gathered down there. So, yes, we had a few minutes chat, and a lovely house there. And so back to the car, and yes, we're coming out. That's the only opportunity I get to get a photo of the school. Didn't have the NGS logo, but I think that sign was probably a lot clearer for most people who didn't know about the NGS charity. So going past a few well-known places into Berkshire, past the Berestead Hotel, into Armitage Court. Getting close to there's Toady, yes, sat on guard duty on Samantha's car. Hello, Toady. What are you up to now? Right, indoors, seeing how that processing of the video is going along. Yes. It was quite late that day, I think, when it was finished, or was it the following day? I can't remember now. Doesn't matter. You can see the temperature, 13 degrees is that. And so I'm putting those other two mosquito zappers where we think is a practical place, and that one doesn't seem to be working at the moment, probably because it hasn't been charged up. You're supposed to charge them first. And I'm pointing out something there. Oh, Toadie's looking at something as well. Yeah, a few snaps of the... Oh, right, this is it. June showed me how to use the macro mechanism. And what I'd seen, yes, you can get mosquitoes. Oh, hello there. And I'd seen a mosquito caught in a spider's web. And that's what prompted me to ask June to show me how to use the macro facility. And that's the ring camera that's not working. And I think it's the power, because the solar panel there had worked for quite a few days, but the solar panel needs to be put in a much better position to get more sun. So it's all to do with what it's a, I think it's a C-type USB plug. So I thought, yeah, make sure they're labelled so that when we're charging them we know what plug to use. And there's a mosquito zapped. So that new so June's rustling up the evening dinner, salmon by the look of it, and watching tennis from Beijing. And yes, there's Samantha and June eating, and I decide, yes, I'll rustle up a combination of some of the salmon and the takeaway arancini that I'd got the day before from La Sorrentina. So, oh yes, there was the video WhatsApp chat because it was a Saturday night. That went on with family and continued to quite late with Michelle. And of course Toadie's joining in. Yes, look at that. Only 35.5% complete after all those hours. So, looks like I'm off to the village. So, yes. Now, it's obviously not to eat, so it must have been just into the Comrades Club. And there's Pease posing for a photo. And of course, he gave me a game and he beat me, of course. No surprise. But I did manage to beat the next guy. That, yeah, I made a note of the name. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. You probably wouldn't want me to say. And yeah, the processing still. And 78.5%. At the end of the day, I used the copy that was from the lounge. Looks like I'm listening to the radio for 10 o'clock news, and June's watching the tennis and looking at things on her smartphone. Oh, that's a funny picture. Looks like time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Sunday the 28th of September 2025. Yes, I'll start that right with one of the last pictures, which was the low-cost meal, relatively speaking, garlic bread at La Sorrentina. And of course some of these delays on the photos are not what they're intended. It's either mistakes in my editing or mistakes somewhere along the path in the software I'm using, like the playing back of these videos, because they're quite high resolution, so it might be a struggle. Anyhow, these are the pictures Neil had done. Yes, spirit level, one of the tools for the job, and the bright idea, which didn't work out so good. Oh yes, make sure you get tools from the right place and put them back in the right place. So there's me putting it back after doing the work. And yes, that's what I'm saying, don't forget. And then a trip out with Samantha, but she had to pump up her tyres, and she still hasn't got somebody like Gary to do that. Anyhow, she took me over to Bracknell to get some more cement for the, I was down to the last half bucket of cement. And so a few snaps on the way, including past the police station and all the building work going on what was Heatherwood Hospital, into Bracknell, and yeah, into Wicks. Came out with, what was that, 5 tubs of cement, £30. A few landmarks coming back, and into Ascot, South Ascot, the Swindley pub, into the High Street, that is, effectively, and home. It looks like I'm taking a walk. Yes, I decided to have a lunch at the Flame Kebab, because it was a bit late to go across the road. And yeah, briefly into the Comrades Club, and then back home. Yeah, some of those delays are not what I expect, not to worry. Yes, and what's happening next? Well, you can see the time there, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And right, that's the job I did. So I then put the water on, fill in the ponds, and of course that overflows and goes down the stream. Again, another long delay on that photo for some strange reason. Not to worry. You can see there's quite a lot of things connected to there. Oh yes, the to keep the mosquitoes at bay. We've got some of that, and of course that's where's the water went in. It floated up that bowl. So put it back there with all the other charity odds and ends for jobs, and perhaps the solution is basically put in that mint in there. I checked with June afterwards, and that seems a good solution. But obviously if that bowl was in there, it'd have to be something heavy in it to hold it down. Look, I'm off down to the village. You can see it's getting darker now. And where am I going to eat down in the village? Well, it could be any place. It's usually La Sorrentina, and it was, or the Flame next door. And then into the Comrades Club, spend a little bit of time there, and then back home. Yes, 22 Armitage Court. Looks like I'm going round the side. Probably I might have forgotten to turn the tap off. I think I did actually phone and suggest that somebody like Samantha turn the tap off, but that hadn't happened. Not to worry. And I'm probably checking out ring cameras there, I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, they're watching something. Oh yes, that ring camera did detect me, but not as I expected, I think. Oh yeah, running McAfee on one of the machines. Time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. Monday the 29th of September 2025. Yes, that's Toadie on guard duty on top of one of the cars, probably Samantha's car. And now the photos in the order shot. I'm thinking about something. Yes, why is the Peeing Boy #1 stopped? Now, I had to diagnose that, and that was a little background job, going down the usual routine. Yes, mosquito zapper had managed to get at least a couple of mosquitoes, and of course Toadie's following me around as I went down the end of the garden. Mind you, he's not following me, he's on the lookout for unfortunate mice. Yes, Tens Hospice, that was a source of quite a lot of those nice glass dishes and things that I've used for odds and ends, mostly decorative stuff. So somewhere to put that pont plat, a mint, in the stream. Yes, Toadie watching what I was doing, sat with me on the seats. These are the two seats down the end of the garden. Temperature coming up to 15 degrees centigrade, not too bad. And yes, so the ring camera seems to be working okay, and yes, processing the video for the day before, and there's the ring camera. Now that had been running for several days off a battery, but the key thing is to move the solar panel into a better position. Oh yes, now this was interesting. I had a visitor. The ring camera showed up a visitor as I looked on the Swan camera, and it looked to me as though they were visiting. Again, another long delay. And didn't actually put anything through the door or knock on the door to get her attention, but was obviously being paid for those visits. How interesting. Yeah, work that one out yourself. That was a virus checker running overnight, I think. June watching tennis just for a change from Beijing. Every now and again these delays are long, and the most likely guess, I think, is that the video player that I'm using, the Windows video player, is having a bit of a struggle with the high resolution images. Anyhow, no problem. So that's looking down on the stream. Some of these delays are long. And alright, this is diagnosing where the problem was. And my solution for unblocking it was to effectively use the pump in reverse, the pump water, yeah, that extra bit of tube, very useful. So I popped it in the bowl so it won't get lost, and that's how I unblocked him. I basically used the pump to pump water back the other way through his little willy back out. Right, looks as though I'm off down to the village. So where would I be going? Yes, the Blend and Brew. Yes, of course. Yes, that's before my main meal arrived, and that was enjoyable. And of course what's also interesting is things that happen and guys you chat to. And oh yes, that was I looked at that and I thought, could that be a Morgan? I spoke to the guy, and in fact I gave him a tip. I said he could park in a better place than where he was thinking of parking, be on a van. Anyhow, yes, thought time to get my hair cut. I haven't had it cut for about 6 months, so that's before and that's after. And right, into the Comrades Club. Yeah, I had a coffee for a change. Saw that that coffee mug, Viceroy of Sunninghill, and I looked it up later and found out where it was. It was the business that has one of the Indian restaurants in the village. You see those photos later. So, what are we doing now? Yeah, just gone 4:30. Temperature coming up to 15 degrees centigrade. Not too bad. Another long delay, you'll notice. Oh, he's having a struggle with that one. Goodness me. Right, a few more snaps down the garden. It looks like the pond has been topped up, water coming out. And yes, there's a mosquito that's been zapped. I think that's a mosquito. There's Toadie prowling around. You're probably saying, oh, what's Robin up to? Looks like I'm going round, and I've just turned the tap off. And oh yes, that's the mayor. That was the guys who gave that mug obviously to the Comrades Club for a bit of promotion, which is fine. Right, so that's the better place for the solar panel, but rather than it being bright white, of course mask the panel but spray it black. And also the little Sharpie pens, another way of doing some of the detail. Just the little white strips that were difficult to get to. Right, looks like they're eating. And yes, put that back on charge because we don't need that battery box now because we've got the solar panel driving the Ring camera at the back. And yes, that's not looking too bad. Yes, and it's working. There you go. And I thought I'll uncover that with a little bit of sandpaper so you can actually see the brand Ring. And right, what's happening now? They're probably getting ready to go to tennis, I'm guessing. Not sure, could be. Yes, I reckon so. So they're off to tennis. Yeah, some days they've got 2 lots of tennis in the day. Yeah, so yeah, the tracker shows them off and up towards the Royal Ascot tennis courts, past the railway station. There's Toadie prowling about. Yeah, so they got there at the Royal Ascot Tennis Club and where they normally park the car, I think. Right, back outside again. And yes, that's all working fine as it should do. And yes, I'm checking out the solar powered lights because as it gets dark they come on. They're solar powered and also they recognise, oh, the light needs to come on because it's getting dark. And so those few pictures show you that. And there's my latest attempt at something which won't float out of the hole when the water comes in. And yes, that comes up. That's the mosquito zapper. So a few snaps looking around with the lights on. So that whatever time that was in the evening, obviously it varies through the year. So main thing is to show that, and coming back up right into the patio area just outside the lounge, into the lounge. Looks like I'm thinking of going down to the village. So the women are still out playing tennis. I'm going down to the village. Now, where are I going to eat? I'll go into the Raj Vuj, enjoy the time there, had a couple of onion bhaji, and yes, enjoyable conversations. And back, looks like I popped into the Comrades Club for a little while, not very long, and then back home. And what's next? Oh yes, check-in. Yes, there they are. Oh, probably in the clubhouse drinking, I suppose. That looks as though. Oh yes, the virus checker had finished. That had been running for several days because it was a full scan on a slow machine with lots of other stuff there. That's Toady on guard duty. Looks like they're leaving the tennis courts 9:15 in the evening. And yes, on their way back. Yes, nearly back home now. So they should appear on the closed circuit TV. And of course Toady insists on joining me. Yes, they are arriving. Yes, coming in. Yes, hello Toady. And yes, and the tracker catches up. Right, so there looks like June's having some ice cream and watching tennis, and I decided I'll have a cornet as well. And time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. Tuesday the 30th of September 2025. Yeah, I chose that photo for the front. It's June relaxing on her lounger on the patio near the top pond, probably reading a book on her tablet because that's her phone at the side of her. And then the photos in the order shot. Yeah, it looks like I decided to take the first one down there or near that. Yes, little peeing boy, that's up near the top pond. He's doing exactly what he should, not splashing over the side so the water stays level. Processing of the video from the day before. They're watching tennis from Beijing, I think that was. And that's annoying. That had floated up the that bowl to give a bit of a pull halfway down the stream. Yes, other things going on. Copying the pictures offloaded onto a USB stick from the phone. Right, temperature 18 degrees centigrade. It looks quite reasonable. And of course, again, that picture, they're supposed to be 2 seconds each, but some of them are much longer. I don't know the reason at the moment. That doesn't matter. I haven't got the time to track it down. And even if I could, I might not be able to fix it. Right, now that's the solution, which is extra stones in the bottom, so that's weighed down, even if there wasn't any water in it. Of course, I've put some more of that rapid satin cement there, so hopefully that will stay in place, even when the stream dries up and then fills up again. Looks like I'm off down to the village to the Blend and Brew for lunch, then popped into the Comrades Club, and then on my way back, and there's Snoopy the Viking on the robot boat. Yeah, check the copying. Yes, what is that, 3 hours 50 minutes left. And back into the lounge, Oh yes, looks like a little bit more of the rapid setting cement. Relaxing for a little while. Oh yes, there was an email exchange with Kevin next door, and we both thought it was a good idea to cut back some of those branches, more of those branches, to free up more sky from our side and of course his side as well. And a few more snaps down the garden. And yes, there's the mosquito zapper, and yes, I think those are mosquitoes that have been zapped since last time I checked. Yeah, relaxing, see my feet in the picture. And yes, it's getting late, so the solar powered lights are coming on, and I've decided to put some of that mosquito repellent on, and I switched on the bat detector, and what I noticed is that triggered it. You could actually hear we switched on the electronics. Or press the button. Oh, there's the moon. Yes, I should have changed some of the mode of the camera to get a better picture of the moon. Yes, so as a few minutes went by, the other lights came on, and then finally the middle light came on. So all three of those flickering lamps are on. And of course other lamps kick in as well as it gets darker, so they switch on. Yeah, looking back up the garden. Yes, walk back to the top, come onto the patio area. And yes, looking up. And yeah, it's just some of the junk there. Right into the... Yes, that's still copying. It says, I think that said 55 minutes to go. Right, looks like I'm off down to the village. Past the robot boat, his solar light has come on. Yes, and down into the village. And where am I going to eat? Well, La Sorrentina was rather busy. So I went into the Flame, which I enjoy, of course. And briefly into the Comrades Club. And yes, I think that was Chelsea versus Inter Milan. I can't remember now. Doesn't matter. And yeah, she's watching tennis. He's doing not very much at all. And yes, that copying still going. Left that going. And yes, so totally decided to come round. So time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. I warned you they'd be long photo trails, and so let's go back into the house before we run into that material that was shot, as I say, probably a couple of years ago. So I'll start from here. Yes, I quite like that Renoir. Quite a nice expensive Renoir, isn't it? But yeah, so that's it. Still got tennis on the television. So I think that other material started at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is rearing itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired, happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop Loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes.
That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including the live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worried for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request. But when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well, but as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday, that'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it,
Anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me whittering on, which is one of my major weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television just for a change. So, oh yes, point out holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive, and through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have.